You guys thought I was going to abandon you on Labor Day. Never will I abandon the Lemonheads. Hello, Lemonation. Hello, Lemonheads. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. I actually like to have the show on behind me. I see your comments, but I don't see the show. Anyways, so I hope that you all are doing really, really well. There we go. I hope you're doing really well, and I hope you had a great holiday weekend, and that you got to spend time with your families. You got to honor those who made sacrifices for our country, those who continue to make sacrifices for our country. And while I am glad that you're here, I'm going to start off with something that's a bit somber. I just want to pay tribute and homage to, since we're speaking about people who have made sacrifices in many ways, and the ultimate sacrifices in many ways. And so I just want to tell you about Hirsch Goldberg Poland, who was one of 6 hostages. There was a military operation in Rafah. The Hamas ended up killing 6 Israeli hostages. And I don't know if you remember, both of his parents spoke at the convention 2 weeks ago. He was 23 years old. And so, you know, while we do this, we are thinking about the folks who have been kept. Hang on one second. It was President Barack Obama. There we go. I just turned the show on my computer so I could see it. So we want to remember that there are still people in harm's way. There are still hostages who are still being held, and there are people who are upset that they have not come to an agreement about those hostages. But I just want to play Hirsch's mother. Her name is Rachel Goldberg Paulin, what she had to say about her son who died 2 days ago.
Okay, sweet boy, go now on your journey. I hope it's as good as the trips you dreamed about, because finally, my sweet boy, finally, you're free. I will love you and I will miss you every single day for the rest of my life. But you're right here. I know you're right here. I just have to teach myself how to feel you in a different way. And Hirsch, there's one last thing I need you to do for us. Now I need you to help us stay strong. And I need you to help us survive.
So that was his mom speaking just this weekend. I don't know how that woman has the strength to do that. Quite frankly, I don't know how his mom and his dad were able to speak at the convention just over a week ago. And there are people who are upset that they cannot come to an agreement on a ceasefire. There were thousands, I'm not sure how many people who took to the streets of Tel Aviv this weekend in a massive protest. Many of them were upset that Bibi Netanyahu for not coming to a ceasefire agreement and finding a way to release the hostages. Here it is. Let's play it. So you can see all of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who took to the streets of Tel Aviv, and we hope that this comes to a resolution. So far, it has not been able to, but again, I just want to make sure that we get this news in because it's big. We should be covering it. It is awful. Our hearts go out to all of the people, all the 6 hostages who were murdered, massacred by Hamas, and all of the people who were killed on October 7th, and all of the Jewish people who have been hurt in all of this and lost loved ones, and the Palestinians as well. We hate that any innocent lives are lost in this situation. We have to stop the killing of Israelis and Jews and Palestinians. And Hamas needs to be held accountable for this. Okay, so I just wanted to pay my tribute. That was the most moving moment for me at the convention. I was watching it in tears. I actually cried. I mean, people were crying around me listening to that mom and dad. And so keep them in your thoughts and prayers, as well as all of the folks over there. In the meantime, some folks who made the ultimate sacrifice are men and women in uniform here in the United States. They made the sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice, all over the world. And I don't know if you guys heard about this Arlington National Cemetery debacle drama that has happened with Donald Trump. Staged a photo op. I think I reported to you about it. Well, he is coming up with some sort of excuse about blaming it on Kamala Harris and saying that the family wanted him there. I listened and read about so many military. I was laying on the couch there, and my pillows are everywhere. I've read about so many military people who are outraged about this, who are upset about this, who want Donald Trump to be held accountable about this, who thinks that this is disqualifying from any office, especially the presidency of the United States. Even in interviews, Donald Trump is making excuses for what happened. I don't know, why, but I just want to play this where this is an ad. This is the latest ad that is pro Kamala Harris, anti Donald Trump, and talks about this debacle at Arlington and using the families and the sacred space as a photo op. Here it is.
We've got Trump on the run, scared. His insults about service members catching up with him. He's panicked. Losers and suckers, he called us, confirmed. Refusing to be seen with wounded warriors because it makes him queasy. Refusing to salute the fallen of World War I because he, quote, doesn't understand what was in it for them. Because he was afraid his dye job might run in the rain faster than he ran to a quack doctor when the draft board called his number. Comparing his sexploitations with the likes of Jeffrey Epstein to the sacrifice of those who went in his place to Vietnam. Now, maybe the greatest insult of all, turning a military cemetery visit into a political stunt with cameras in tow. In Section 60, one of the most hallowed acres of all, and when an Army civilian official told them they were breaking federal law that bans politics and campaign cameras, Trump thugs verbally and physically assaulted her. Disgusting. Donald Trump, the grave markers veterans and military families drop a knee to, are not your political props. They represent the heroes we served alongside, men and women you could never measure up to, friends who lived and died by the oath we all swore to uphold, something you will never understand, and why we're doing our damnedest to make sure no service member ever has to salute you as Commander-in-Chief ever again.
What'd you think of that ad? I think it was pretty powerful. And I love what they said, used as political props. Now, I know the MAGAs are making all kinds of excuses for him, saying, oh, it was set up, it was bullshit. Even the families do not have the power to override the law, to override the rules of Arlington National Cemetery. Now, it has been said by some that he broke a crime and that this was a federal crime, and he is on probation. And as such, he should be locked up. That's what would happen to anyone else who is on probation. That's what would happen to anybody else who breaks the rules. Do you think he should be locked up? And do you think that Donald Trump should be given leeway, excuses should be made for him to be able to go on sacred, hallowed ground and do what he's doing or do what he did? When I first saw it, I was like, why is he doing this? I could not understand why he was doing it. I didn't understand why something that had not been announced by Arlington National Cemetery, by the White House, to be an event that would commemorate the loss of lives in our pullout from Afghanistan. I didn't get the memo. I didn't get an alert from the White House. And yet I'm flipping through and I turn on Fox News, and Fox News has him out there with I'm like, what is going on here? He's not the president of the United States. He can put out a statement. He can go there if he wants, but that doesn't mean cameras need to trail him. And that does not mean that a network is obligated to carry it live. It was a setup. He set MAGA up. He set Fox News up. He set the other folks, OAN, whoever it is, whatever these conservative networks, he set them up. And he set up the people who he uses as marks as part of his snake oil salesman routine. And those are the people who follow him as MAGAs. He set you up. And in the process, he disrespected the people who not only put their lives on the line, but who lost their lives protecting and fighting for this country. It is outrageous. And I think it's disqualifying as well. We'll continue to follow that one. But also what I think is disqualifying as well is the fact that Donald Trump wants to enact, whether he says he denies it, he's lying, and the people around him, Project 2025. This is the new Labor Day ad, which is focused on Project 2025. Here it is.
What are Donald Trump and his friends preparing for a second term? A little something called Project 2025. They're going to eliminate overtime. They want to scrap child labor laws, your pensions, canceled, along with your retirement. These weirdos want to roll your rights back, way back. Because the truth is, if you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu.
What do you guys think of the ad? And by the way, John Smith, who's in the comments saying Trump has no affiliation with Project 2025. Okay, so just as an easy one. So who is Donald Trump's running mate? J.D. Vance. Who wrote the foreword to Project 2025? Can you guys answer me in the comments? And on multiple occasions, it has been found that Donald Trump says one thing and then says another. As we say, speaks out of both sides of his mouth. I don't know, I don't have anything to do with Project 2025. And then he's like, just like abortion. This weekend, oh my gosh. People who were saying, well, Kamala Harris really just flip-flopped on fracking and whatever. And I said, did you guys watch the last 2 days? Donald Trump say 3 different things about a woman's right to choose, about women's reproductive health, about 6 weeks, abortion, the timeline. 3 different things. And that was just one. But you don't call him out for that. Something that is much more consequential to people who say that they vote for and support Donald Trump. And that is, I care about abortion. I care about Supreme Court justices. I want conservative justices who are going to uphold abortion, life, the right to life, anti-abortion. And he flip-flops, and y'all don't say shit about it. You don't say, oh my gosh, he flip-flopped. It's disqualifying. Can he do an interview about it? He better do an interview. Oh my gosh, he better. Why isn't he doing interviews about this? Can he do some interviews? Let me tell you guys something about that interview shit, okay? So all these people are saying Kamala Harris should do interviews. Let me just say this. I'm going to preface it by saying, as a member of the press, I think if you're running for president, or if you're the president, or if you're in elected office, you should be giving as many interviews as possible. You should be opening up to the press. But what I believe is that what your standards are, the standards that you have for other people, you have to have them for yourself. Okay? So Donald Trump is saying, oh, he calls her Kamala, right? Kamala Harris hasn't stepped in front of the cameras, and she hasn't done a press conference. She hasn't done an interview, whatever. She did the interview on CNN. Apparently that wasn't enough for them. The entire time that he was president, he did not grant an interview to any member of the media who was not favorable, who was not conservative, who wasn't Fox News, who wasn't any other conservative person. So he's going to talk, and MAGA is really going to dictate what Kamala Harris should be doing and how many interviews she should be doing. Come on, you guys know that's bullshit. That's BS. You know it. Now, again, I think they all should be speaking to the press. But if MAGA and Donald Trump want Kamala Harris, plural, want Kamala Harris to do an interview, then they should have the same standard for their guy. And they should have. Remember, the same person that you're telling them that they should be doing interviews and speaking to the same people that your guy calls the enemy of the people. Make it make sense for me. Make it make sense. Again, Donald Trump has no connection to Project 2025. Oh, really? Why don't you ask JD Vance about that? So I believe that Donald Trump is losing it because he does not know how to react to a Kamala Harris candidacy, to a Kamala Harris campaign. He's doing all the things, Comrade Kamala. It's so stupid and childish, and it's not even like funny or cool anymore. It's just embarrassingly cringy that he comes up with these silly schoolyard names that aren't even funny. They don't really make sense. They're not clever. They're like base. It's like he's acting like the poorly educated, as he says, I love the poorly educated. So he is saying crazy things and just lying in interviews about things that he doesn't know about. There's one soundbite, if you can find it, it's in the same category, Nikki, if you're listening to me, as the one where he talks about Hillary Clinton's bleach bit. He thinks a bleach bit is actual, like Clorox, like acid. That is the name of the computer program that cleans out your cache and your hard drive. It's not acid. It's not bleach that you can put inside the body like light, like you wanted to do with COVID. Okay? If you have it, let me know. If not, I've explained it. But this is what he said at speaking to in Washington, D.C. The beginning, I'm not sure exactly what he was speaking about, but towards the end, he starts talking about trans rights in schools, and his information and his facts are so wrong. But the weird thing is that people believe it. This is what he said. Now listen to him really closely. Watch. Just listen to this. See if it makes sense.
Almost nobody in this room wants, who I think 85, 90% of the country doesn't want if they actually.
I absolutely agree with you.
But the transgender thing is incredible. Think of it. Your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with an operation. The school decides what's going to happen with your child. And you know, many of these childs 15 years later say, what the hell happened? Who did this to me?
Okay, so none of that is true, by the way. There are people out there who believe it. That's the sad thing, is that people will believe it. Okay, so your kid goes to school, and then all of a sudden, a couple of days later, it comes home and their sex has been changed. Do you know the rigors that people have to go through for that? And not to mention if it's a surgery that you have to be in the hospital for, I'm sure, weeks and at home and bedridden and all of that. It is not something that is taken lightly. This isn't like minor surgery that you go in and say, oh my God, I have a pimple, whatever, that's, or an ingrown hair. It's not that. It's not even like a facelift. It's even more serious than that. And he claims that, oh, your kid goes to school and comes home a few days later with a sex change or whatever he said. And then 15 years later, that's BS. There are very few, look at the stats, okay? And by the way, an issue that really affects and impacts so few people in this country. I'm surprised that they are so interested in it. It's weird. But if you look at it, the number of people who have regrets about gender reassignment surgery are very small. That number is very small because people don't take it lightly. And it's not like it happens when you're a kid, okay? That is not true. That is not true. So he's losing it. He just makes up lie after lie after lie after lie. Now, this one to me is intriguing. It's a very short soundbite that I want to play for you. I'm trying to update you guys, by the way, on everything that happened over the weekend, things that happened over the weekend, because there was a lot, and I'm sure that you, kind of tuned out. I did a little bit because I had guests, we had friends who came in from California, and we were busy. We were doing fun stuff. So this is Donald Trump. Now, you tell me if you think it's a confession, because he did an interview with Mark Levine, who is a very conservative, far-right MAGA commentator, sort of bon vivant person in that, at that category over there, far right and conspiracy theorist, written a lot of books, and is sort of in the ilk of a Rush Limbaugh type. Okay. So now listen, I want you to listen very closely, because he's talking about election interference. And the sentence, the way it is constructed, he says, when you, I'm going to paraphrase and I'm going to let him say it. When you get charged or indicted or something like that for interfering in an election when you had every right to. Okay, watch.
Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it? You get indicted and your poll numbers go up. When people get indicted, your poll numbers go down.
So first of all, he's like obsessed with poll numbers, sizes, or whatever. I mean, you know what Barack Obama said about that. So if you listen to that sentence, what he said is, when you get indicted for interfering in a presidential election when you have every right to. That means he not only thinks that he had the right to do it, but he's surprised that he was indicted, which means that he thinks that he is immune and above the law. And then he gives a reason in that short period of time there, that, 14 seconds. His reasoning is that usually if you get indicted, your poll numbers go down, but his poll numbers went up. So therefore, it must be okay, because he believes that there is a portion of the American people, of his constituency, that agrees with him, that he should be able to interfere in an election, which is a crime, that he should be able to get away with it. He shouldn't be. That is not acting in the official capacity as president. That is a confession. That is what we call telling on yourself. He told on himself. He said it. He just wasn't thinking. I have every right to interfere. I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. You heard it. Nikki, if you haven't gotten, can you please just play it again? I want you to listen to the sentence. Okay.
Whoever
Maybe
heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it, you get indicted and your poll numbers go up. When people get indicted, your poll numbers go down.
Yeah, when you have every right to do it. But you're not hearing things. So anyone who's defending him, there was someone in the comments who said on social media to me, "Oh, Don, I'm not sure your soundbite is long enough to prove your point." That one little sentence proves the point. I have every right to do it. That's what he's saying. In this case, I like to say, and Rachel always says this, but I was saying this when I was on cable as well. Watch what they do. But I also said, listen to what they say as well. It can be equally as important. He's confessing. He's telling on himself. He doesn't know what to do. He's out here doing all these interviews, and he's just talking and talking and talking and talking. He is also still obsessed with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And he talks about, oh my gosh, how terrible the country was and the hatred that happened when Barack Obama was president. He doesn't seem to understand if that is true. If that is indeed true. I don't believe that was that kind of hatred. There's more hatred now that he's president. But the hatred in our country when Barack Obama was president was because of people like Donald Trump, who every day otherized Barack Obama, the Obamas. Michelle Obama said it in her convention speech. Because someone as small and as narrow-minded as him found it galling that two people highly educated who happen to be Black were successful in running the country and smarter than him and doing it and doing a better job at it than him. So the hatred was coming from him, from right-wing racist groups. Online hatred went up. They were pissed. There's a Black president. And oh my goodness, where is your birth certificate? That's where the hatred was coming from, Donald Trump. So anyways, he is obsessed with that. Again, doesn't know how to react to this Black woman beating him so far. She's closed the polls. That's what everyone says. Well, she should be further ahead. Okay, maybe she should be. But what she has closed in a matter of less than a month between Joe Biden dropping out and the convention, both of them, is quite remarkable. Yet, Donald Trump is still obsessed with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. It's 2016 all over again for him. Here it is.
I had to make a decision. Do I want to do this? Do I want to put the wife of the President of the United States and Secretary of State, by the way, do I want to put her in prison? And I'm trying to unify a country that really was broken badly. If you look at, what was going on with Obama when I took this over, this country was had tremendous hatred, anxiety, a lot of hatred. And do I want to put the wife of a president of the United States in prison? I didn't want to do that. And then when I get out, it's like, it's amazing, actually. It's amazing. And it's such a bad precedent because people are going to think about it differently. They're going to think about it differently. And it's very sad, actually.
Does he think we're stupid? You know, I said he's telling on himself. He's telling on himself because what he is saying is they shouldn't be putting me in jail when I actually did commit a crime. I actually have been convicted of a crime, of crimes. But I didn't put anybody in jail. They shouldn't put me in jail. Even though Hillary Clinton was not convicted of a crime. Remember that whole James Comey debacle, which people believe affected the election and it was part of the reason that she lost again. And he said, oh, there's no crime. And then there was a report that came out after Donald Trump was president and said there was no evidence of Hillary Clinton committing a crime. And that the situation with her computer and all that was highly overblown. If you don't believe me, look it up. It's there. But it didn't get the headlines that all the other BS stuff got. Does he actually think that we're crazy? Because you can hear it. What he's saying there is it should be a double standard. I didn't do it. Oh my God, I'm such a benevolent person that I didn't put Hillary Clinton in jail for not committing a crime. What is the basis of putting her in jail? There's no evidence to put her in jail. There was no crime committed. There was no indictment. There was no court. It was not adjudicated. It was investigated. And the investigation, it was investigated by a Trump Justice Department. No evidence of a crime. So why would he put her in jail? Does he think we're idiots? He thinks that some people are idiots, especially if you fall for it. He thinks you're an idiot. And if you fall for it, That's on you. He is worried about the debate as well. He is obsessed. If you look at my social media, I tell you, he is obsessed with Kamala Harris because he continues to talk about her in similar ways that he talked about Hillary Clinton, but he is even more, I know this is bad English, shook, it should be shaken, by Kamala Harris than he was by Hillary Clinton, because there's that added layer on top of it, right? She came out of nowhere. He didn't think he was going to be running against her, and she's a Black woman, right? There was a whole, if he could do the birth certificate thing, he would, and they've tried. Nothing happened, right? So he's obsessed, and the reason I know it is because he's talking about how mean and nasty she was to Brett Kavanaugh during the hearings. Now, she was doing her job. She held him to account. He could not answer the questions, as Bill Barr, during his congressional hearing, Senate hearings, could not answer the questions. And she held him to account. And the debate she did with Mike Pence, she was so rude and nasty to Mike Pence. It's always rude and nasty, right? It's always rude and nasty as a woman. Also obsessed that's about the debate. And he's also obsessed with calling out the media, right? Because he wants to, he calls out the people who can call out his lies. And he has come up with a dumb, silly name for George Stephanopoulos. And if he's giving himself some room as well to, if he wants to back out of the election. Okay, here it is. Watch. Mark Levine again.
Things are happening that are so crazy. I think there's no human being that was ever treated worse in Congress than Justice Kavanaugh.
And Harris led the battle.
That's right. Oh, she was vicious. Oh,
she's a senator, by the way, not Congress.
She was going after them, just like with Mike Pence, where she said, "You're interrupting me. I want to talk." And that's why, look, ABC is probably the worst in terms of fairness. George Flopadopoulos, the people they have there are just terrible. Jonathan Karl, but that's the only one she'll go to. Now the other one is the head of ABC is her best friend and her husband's best friend too.
Dan DeLito in the comments, right? Victim as usual. He's a perpetual victim. How can someone so wealthy and with so much power be such a victim? Everyone is out to get him. Everyone is mean and nasty but him. Everyone is crooked but him. Again, he may think some of y'all are stupid, but he doesn't think I'm stupid. And he doesn't think many of the supporters of Kamala Harris are stupid. He thinks the people he doesn't need to convince, but just to reinforce his lies, he thinks you're stupid, MAGA. And he's saying all this stuff. And like George Flopadopoulos, I mean, come on. How old is he? How old is he? It's like a stupid little kid. And you're like, okay, Donnie, go take your bath. But mommy, stupid Flopadopoulos. That's what it sounds like. George won't let me get in the shower. Won't let me play with his rubber ducky. Stupid Flopadopoulos. That's what he sounds like. Like a little kid. Like a little kid. So here's, when we talk about another part of the interview, he talks about cozying up to dictators. Okay. Now I'm just going to let you make up your mind about this, because he's not hard on Putin, right? Because Putin is like his buddy, and he's like, I end the war. If I became whatever, I can end the war in 2 seconds. The first day, whatever. Okay, all right, right. But he actually wants to do business. He wants to get in business with Putin, and he wondered why there was such an uproar and an investigation into Russia, which he calls a hoax, which was not a hoax. It was just that Bill Barr got to frame it because Bill Barr was the attorney general. But if you actually look and you read the papers, wasn't a hoax, folks. Good talking points for the right and for MAGA. It was not a hoax. Now, that may not have been all the superfluous stuff about what happened in the hotel room and all that crap or whatever. But if you actually read it, you're like, well, wait a minute. Wow. Again, he comes up with nicknames in this one. He said it was a hoax. But just pay attention to actually what he's saying. Again, telling on himself because he wants to do business with Putin, a dictator, fascist dictator. Watch.
But we were having a problem. You had Adam Shifty Schiff and all these bad people, including Hillary and others, coming up with this Russia hoax. And I told Putin, I said, you know, it's a shame because we could have done a lot of business, the countries together, but with this whole fake thing that's going on, and he understood that. I said, it's a fake deal. He said, he actually said to me, he said, it's tough to make a deal now. I said, you're right, it's tough. They created a fake narrative, this Russia hoax. It was a hoax. And we could have had a much different relationship with Russia.
It wasn't a hoax. And what kind of a relationship do you want to have with a man who invades another country and kills the citizens of that country just because he's like, that, I want that land. I want you. I want to take over. And we could have done business together. Do you want to be in business with Putin? Or do you want to be able to tell Putin to stand down, to not invade a country, to blow his weaponry to smithereens, to show force so that he does not invade a country and kill innocent people? Or do you want, we can do business together. Let's do some business. Again, he thinks you're stupid. He doesn't think I'm stupid, but he thinks you're stupid. And you know who I'm talking to. Again, cozying up to dictators and fascists and despots and the like. China. He is still in love with China. Now, again, telling on himself because he says here, I've made billions of dollars from China. Billions. Remember what happened with his kids? Jared and Ivanka, after they left, but also while they were there as well. His company was making lots of money from foreign countries. Remember the Emoluments Act? He's like, I don't have to do, I don't care about that. He didn't care about the emoluments clause. He does not care about the emoluments clause and didn't his entire time. Making money, his business. Him running it shadow, you know, in the background, like the Wizard of Oz, and making money. So not only does he want to do business with Putin, but he wants to do business with Xi Jinping as well. Telling on himself again. Here it is.
And China paid me hundreds of billions of dollars. And then they say, oh, we're soft in China. I remember President Xi said, if you're soft on me, I'd hate to see if you were bad. And by the way, Putin said the exact same thing. If you're soft, I'd hate to see you bad. This is a good thing. You know, the press, if I said get along with him great, the press would say, oh, he said he gets along with him great. No, this is a good thing. This is a smart thing.
Now, if I was Donald Trump's people, I'd be giving the exact opposite advice. I mean, or maybe the same advice that Kamala Harris's people giving her. Yeah, you know, zip it. Things are going fine right now. Don't rock the boat. Don't screw this up. Why would you put yourself in a position to say something that might be misconstrued? Because we all have those moments. I've had those moments. Every single person who's in the public eye has had those moments. You're like, wait, that's not what I meant. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I would say stuff and I wouldn't even hear it, and my producer would say, "You realize you said 47, it was 74." And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I said that." But there he is. China has paid me hundreds of billions of dollars. And then he's ha 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 with Xi. "Oh, if they think you're hard on me, huh, I'd hate to see you when you're soft." That's not what people say to you when you're hard on them. That's what people say to you when you're being easy on them. If he was hard on him, he probably wouldn't be having that conversation, especially not like that. "Oh, boss, huh, you're so hard on me. Ha, ha, ha. I hate to see you when you're soft." That's not what you say. You're like, "Oh, what do you want? What you want? Why are you talking to me?" "Okay, you want me to, okay, fine." That's what you tell your boss. "Okay, great, I'll do it." Whatever. You don't say, "Oh," when someone is hard on you, it's not the kind of conversation you have with them. So we know he's lying. He's telling on himself. He's telling on himself. Paid him hundreds of billions of dollars. Okay, so listen, it is Labor Day. I don't want to keep you too long, but I just wanted to I just wanted to leave you with something that will just warm your heart. Now, you guys know who Lara Trump is, right? She's the head of the RNC. She's also the daughter-in-law of Donald Trump. She's got a new video out. She's singing. She dropped her video, and man, we got it. Part of it for you. Here it is. Oh, my God. You better look out, Taylor. Here comes Lara. Look out, Beyonce. Here comes Lara. Who took that woman's money for that video? Definitely heard auto-tune as well. Come on now. What am I lying about? Where is the lie? You guys know. Janet Davis said it. Janet in the comments says she's tone deaf. Of course, she's tone deaf in more ways than one. My ears, says Teresa Boone. Oh my gosh, hilarious. Anyways, I love you guys. I missed you. I hope I wasn't away too long. I was actually we were only away for the weekend. I wasn't going to do a show today, but I said I got to talk. I got to speak to the lemon heads. Hey, lemon heads, can you guys before you get out of here, can you please hit the thumbs up for us? It affects the algorithm. We love it. So thank you for that. My ear says Yuka and Waka. Hilarious. You guys, I hate to laugh at anyone. You know, we want to encourage people. Go, Lara. Go, Lara. I mean, it'll probably hit #1. Anyways, it's getting close, guys. You know it's getting close, right? So I want you all, please, even if you pre-order, go pre-order another one for someone. People are always asking for them. Okay, so go pre-order, please. I Once Was Lost, My Search for God in America. The book tour starts in like a week. I actually have a photo shoot with the New York Times tomorrow. Okay, so make sure you go, please, and pre-order the book. And we want to listen. The last one debuted at #1 on the best New York Times bestsellers list. I don't know if that'll happen with this one. You know, I was on CNN, that was perfect storm, so to speak. It was COVID and George Floyd, and I was writing about all those things and what was happening in America, and everything just sort of came together. But please, I would really like it if you supported me and go pre-order the book, okay? And I'm going to read some. Let me read some of your comments. All right. If you guys have anything to not auto-tune, says Keisha Anderson or Kesha Anderson. Yeah, I mean, you got to say the man of the It was almost like A minor, but it was A minor. She not like us. I crack myself up. Oh my gosh. I appreciate the smiley faces, Maria J. Benny C. Thank you. Actually, highly recommend she enters the music industry. I've heard of great things lately. Okay, says the cursing yoga. Good for her. Auto Tune won't help her, says Beth H. Thompson says she needs some lemon tea. She does need some lemon tea. I have pre-ordered your book, says Ann Marcel. Thank you, Ann. I appreciate that. Let me know if you guys have pre-ordered the book as well. The song was probably priced at about $200, like Melania's book, $165. I don't know what you're talking about. Whatever. Anyways, Don, you're hilarious, says Grace Gross. Thank you, Grace, for that. Great broadcast, Lemon. Thank you. Hit the thumbs up, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Tell your friends, call your friends and relatives, and tell them about our little channel over here on the YouTube. And tell me, how was your Labor Day? I want to know. What did you do? I pre-ordered the book, says Lisa G. Lisa, thank you. I appreciate that. Excuse me, I'm still a little scratchy. Came back from the convention with a little cold. And I got to tell you, I also had the COVID. I did. I tested positive for the COVID, and that's why I went away for a little bit. And so, but I have tested negative for the last couple of days. So, excuse me. So yeah, Cybo says a little COVID. I did, guys. Pre-ordered it, arriving 9/10, says Cassandra. Thank you so much for that. Pre-order Amazon Audible, says Grace Goss. Thank you. And Grace, I read it. And I think it gives you a preview, but I read it, and I usually hate my voice, but this one, because it's about, pre-order the book, says Valerie Mara, because this one is about church and whatever my experience. So I started reading it like when I was in church, and I actually started singing part of it. And when I was doing the audio version, and I had to go back in and redo it because they said, oh, it may be a copyright infringement. So I don't know if they'll leave it in or not. But anyways, I pre-ordered it, getting one for my mom. Oh my gosh, who just said that? It just went away. Crap. Anyways, thank you. Whoever said they pre-ordered it and they're getting one for their mom. Thank you so much for that. Oh, getting one for my mom, says that was Winky Campbell. Winky, thank you. Good to see you on here again. Last book was Fire. Thank you. That was the name of the last book, as a matter of fact. This is the Fire. What I say to my friends about racism. Get well soon, Don. I'm fine. Let me tell you though, COVID is still a thing. And I had it. I was scratchy. Had like this post-nasal drip, excuse me, a little fiery throat thing. It was like a flu or really, really bad cold. But it was, if I wanted to go out, I probably could have. But the thing is that I was so tired, and I'm still tired. So again, I've tested negative for the past couple of days, but I'm still tired. And it's so funny. People were like, where have you been? Why didn't you come? And people like, and I was just like, I'm at home, I'm resting. And then finally I told them I have COVID. I'm not going to be around you. So I missed all kinds of dinner parties and barbecues and all kinds of things. So anyways, 30 seconds of my life I can't get back, says Jacqueline Bell. Okay, thank you. Mending fences, you said it, says the cursing yogi. Awesome, we understand each other. Anyways, so I'm so glad that you guys joined us today. Make sure you get the book. Thank you for wishing me well. I'm glad you had having a great Labor Day weekend. Yeah, fatigue, get some rest. You are right, Adam Villanueva. Thank you for that. President Joe Biden speaking now. Okay, well, good for him. I saw him earlier speak, and he talked about he was speaking at the White House live, and he talked about one of the things that he'll remember most is when his kid was young. I think it was Bo, and he said he had this Corvette, and he took him out, and it was a drop top or whatever, and he said his kid looked him dead in the eye and said, oh my God, Dad, that was the best time. I love you so much. And he said he'll never forget that. Those are the moments. That's why I love Joe Biden. That's why he's a decent man. He's a really decent man. He doesn't talk shit about people. He's actually a good person. So say what you want. I even used to say that when I was on CNN, because I will never forget that Joe Biden called me after my sister died. And as a matter of fact, the young lady who worked at CNN, who put the call through to me, was at my house just yesterday. And by the way, I need to put the pictures up. I forgot to tell you, you guys know Sarah Seidner on CNN? Sarah's a dear friend. Sarah is dealing with cancer, fighting cancer. She went through chemo. Now she's going through radiation. Anyway, she came to town and stopped by my house and brought some breakfast and bagels. And we sat and we talked and we loved each other and we reminisced. She really, really is a great person. And so everyone put in a prayer for Sarah Seidner. So with that said, thank you, Lemonheads. I shall see you tomorrow after my big photo shoot. And we have a fun comedian, someone you're going to love, coming up tomorrow on our Live at 5 show. Okay? I'll see you later. Thank you. Thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye. Have a great evening. Be safe.